Welcome back to our channel Get Knowledge with SBK.
Today's topic is about solar system. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, asteroid belt. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune and Kuiper belt.
The solar system. The force of gravity generated by the sun's vast mass keeps a family of planets and other bodies trapped in orbit around it. Together, the sun and all these bodies make up our solar system. The sun. The profile of the sun. The diameter of the sun is 13,93,684 kilometers, which is 8,65,375 miles. Its distance from Earth is 150 million kilometers. The mass of it is equal to 3,30,000 Earths. The surface temperature is 5,500 Celsius degrees, and the core temperature is 15 million degrees Celsius.
The sun is a nearly perfect sphere of hot glowing gas. Its source of power lies buried deep in the central core by a nuclear furnace rages non-stop, turning matter into pure heat, slightly bigger than a typical star. The sun is large enough by volume to swallow 1.3 billion Earths. It contains 99.8% of all the matter in the solar system.
This is Sun from Earth. This is Earth compared to Sun.
Inner planets Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are the solar system's inner planets. On the face of it, they are worlds apart. But underneath the surface, it is a different story. The inner planets are formed from the same material about 4.6 billion years ago. Each of these planets were bombarded by asteroids and comets early in the solar system's history.
This is Mercury. This is Venus. This is Earth and this is Mars. In order, this is the smallest planet Mercury, this is the hottest planet in the world Venus, this is Earth the living world and this is Mars.
In the sun's glare, Mercury's profile. The Mercury's diameter is 4,879 kilometers, which is 3,032 miles. And the average surface temperature is 167 degrees Celsius, and which is 333 degrees Fahrenheit. One spin on axis, it takes 58.6 Earth days, and one orbit of the Sun equals 88 Earth days. It has 0 moons.
The smallest planet in our solar system and nearest to the Sun, Mercury, is only slightly larger than Earth's moon. From the surface of Mercury, the Sun would appear more than 3 times as large as it does when viewed from Earth, and the sunlight would be as much as 7 times brighter. Despite its proximity to the Sun, Mercury is not the hottest planet in our solar system. The title belongs to nearby Venus, thanks to its dense atmosphere.
Mercury's iron core accounts for 2/3 of the planet mass. This is Mercury.
The lava land. The Venus profile. Its diameter is 12,104 kilometers, which is 7,521 miles. Its average surface temperature is 464 degrees Celsius, which is 333 degrees Fahrenheit. One spin on axis, it takes 243 Earth days, and one orbit of the Sun, it takes 224.7 Earth days. It has 0 moons. This is Venus looks.
Venus is the second planet from the Sun and our closest planetary neighbor. Similar in structure and size to Earth, Venus spins slowly in the opposite direction than most planets. Its thick atmosphere traps heat in a runaway greenhouse effect, making it the hottest planet in our solar system with surface temperatures hot enough to melt lead. Glimpses below the clouds reveal volcanoes and deformed mountains. Venus is named for the ancient Roman goddess of love and beauty, who was known as Aphrodite to the ancient Greeks.
Greenhouse effect. Venus is hot because of a process called the greenhouse effect. The sun's heat passes through the atmosphere and warms the ground, which then re-emits warmth. Then re-emitted warmth is trapped by the atmosphere much as glass trapped heat in a greenhouse. This is Venus. The living world.
Living world. Earth profile. The diameter is 12,756 kilometers, which is 7,926 miles. Its average surface temperature is 15 degrees Celsius or 59 degrees Fahrenheit. One spin on axis, 23.9 hours, and one orbit of the Sun, 365.6 days. And it has one moon.
Our home planet is the third planet from the Sun and the only place we know of so far that's inhabited by living things. While Earth is only the fifth largest planet in the solar system, it is the only world in our solar system with liquid water on the surface. Just slightly larger than nearby Venus, Earth is the biggest of the four planets closest to the Sun, all of which are made of rock and metal. The name Earth is at least 1,000 years old. All of the planets except for Earth were named after Greek and Roman gods and goddesses. However, the name Earth is a Germanic word which simply means the ground.
The
The
red
red
planet.
planet. The profile of Mars. The diameter is 6,792 kilometers, which is 4,220 miles. And the average surface temperature is 63 degrees Celsius or minus 81 degrees Fahrenheit. One spin on axis, 24.6 hours, and one orbit of the Sun, 687 Earth days. It has two moons. This is
This
how
is Mars.
Mars is the fourth planet from the Sun, a dusty, cold, desert world with a very thin atmosphere. Mars is also a dynamic planet with seasons, polar ice caps, canyon, extinct volcanoes, and evidence that it was even more active in the past. Mars is one of the most explored bodies in our solar system, and it's the only planet where we've sent rovers to roam the alien landscape. Two NASA rovers and one lander are currently exploring the surface of Mars. The Chinese lander is set to land later this year. An international fleet of 8 orbiters are studying the red planet 𝓐𝓫𝓵𝓪𝓻. These robotic explorers have found lots of evidence that Mars was much wetter and warmer with a thicker atmosphere billions of years ago.
Rocky floodplain. Mars hasn't always been a desert. Dry rivers beds show that the water flowed here long ago. Floods swept rocks across the land and dumped them on floodplains like the one above below. Mars may even have been warm and wet enough for life to flourish. 22 kilometers, which is equal to 14 miles, the height of the Olympus Mons volcano on Mars is the largest mountain in the solar system. This is Mars. The outer planets. The four outer planets are further from the Sun as well as farther from the Earth. They are much more difficult to learn about since they are very different from our home planet. The four planets farthest from the Sun and are the outer planets. Figure below shows the relative sizes of outer planets and the Sun. These planets are much larger than the inner planets and are made primarily of gases and liquids. So they are also called gas giants. The planets in the outer planets are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. This is the size compared to Earth.
King
The
of the
king of
planets, the profile of Jupiter. The diameter is 1,39,822 kilometers, or you can know as 86,881 miles. Average surface temperature on Jupiter is minus 145 degrees Celsius or minus 234 degrees Fahrenheit. One spin on axis equals 9.9 hours. One orbit of Sun equals 11.9 Earth years. The number of moons Jupiter has is 69 moons.
This is Jupiter.
Jupiter has a long history surprising scientists, all the way back to 1610 when Galileo Galilei found the first moons beyond Earth. That discovery changed the way we see the universe. Fifth in line from the Sun, Jupiter is by far the largest planet in the solar system, more than twice as massive as all the other planets combined. Jupiter's familiar stripes and swirls are actually cold, windy clouds of ammonia and water, floating in an atmosphere of hydrogen and helium. Jupiter's iconic Great Red Spot is a giant storm bigger than Earth that has raged for hundreds of years.
The Jupiter system. Like a king surrounded by his courtiers, Jupiter is circled by a great number of moons. The inner moons, including the four largest, are shown below. Ganymede, the largest, is bigger than the planet Mercury. Most of Jupiter's other moons are probably asteroids captured by planet's gravity. It takes 1,300 Earths to fit inside Jupiter's volume.
The Lord of Rings. Saturn's profile. The diameter is 1,16,464 kilometers or 72,367 miles. The average surface temperature on Saturn is minus 180 degrees Celsius or 292 minus 292 degrees Fahrenheit. One spin on axis is 10.9 hours. One orbit of Sun is 29.5 Earth years. Number
Number
of
of
moons
moons.
are 62.
This is Saturn.
Saturn is the sixth planet from the Sun and the second largest planet in our solar system. Adorned with thousands of beautiful ringlets, Saturn is unique among the planets. It is not the only planet to have rings made of chunks of ice and rock, but none are as spectacular or as complicated as Saturn's. Like fellow gas giant Jupiter, Saturn is a massive ball made mostly of hydrogen and helium.
Ring system. Saturn's main rings are 3,60,000 kilometers, which is equal to 2,20,000 miles wide. Yet they are only 10 meters, that is 30 feet thick. A scale model of the rings made with a sheet of paper would be 3 kilometers, 2 miles wide. Beyond the main rings are the hazy outer rings, photographed. This is Saturn.
Topsy-turvy world. The profile of Uranus. The diameter is 50,724 kilometers or 31,518 miles. Average surface temperature on Uranus is minus 216 degrees Celsius or minus 357 degrees Fahrenheit. One spin on axis equals 17.2 hours. One orbit of Sun equals 84 Earth years and the number of moons equals 27 moons.
The first planet found with the aid of a telescope, Uranus, was discovered in 1781 by astronomer William Herschel, although he originally thought it was either a comet or a star. It was 2 years later that the object was universally accepted as a new planet, in part because of observations by astronomer Johann Elert Bode. Herschel tried unsuccessfully to name his discovery Georgium Sidus after King George III.
Ice giant. Uranus' pale blue color is due to the methane in its atmosphere. Water and ammonia have also been detected in the clouds. The planet contains less hydrogen and helium than Jupiter and Saturn, but more rock and water.
The blue planet. The profile of Neptune. Diameter is 49,528 kilometers and in miles it is 30,775 miles Average surface temperature on Neptune is minus 201 Celsius, and in Fahrenheit it's minus 371 degrees Fahrenheit. One spin on axis is 16 per 1 hours, and one orbit of Sun equals 163.7 Earth years. Neptune has 14 moons.
Dark, cold, and whipped by supersonic winds, ice giant Neptune is the eighth and most distant planet in our solar system, more than 30 times as far from the Sun as the Earth. Neptune is the only planet in our solar system not visible to the naked eye and the first predicted by mathematics before its discovery. In 2011, Neptune completed its first 165-year orbit since its discovery in 1846. NASA's Voyager 2 is the only spacecraft to have visited Neptune up close. It flew past in 1989 on its way out of the solar system.
Fastest known winds. When Voyager 2 flew past Neptune in 1989, it photographed white clouds blown into streaks by wind of up to 2,100 kilometers miles, which is equal to 1,300 miles per hour, the fastest sustained winds in our solar system. This violent weather is thought to be powered by the heat from inside Neptune, since the planet is too far from the Sun to absorb much of its warmth. This is Neptune.
The moon. The profile of the moon. Diameter is 3,474 kilometer or 2,159 miles. Average surface temperature on moon is minus 53 degrees or minus 63 Fahrenheit. Length of a lunar day is 27 Earth days. Time to orbit Earth 27 Earth days. Gravity equals Earth equals 1 equals 0.17.
Earth's moon is the only place beyond Earth where humans have set foot. The brightest and largest object in our night sky, the moon, makes Earth a more livable planet by moderating our home planet's wobble on its axis, leading to a relatively stable climate. It also causes tides, creating the rhythm that has guided humans for thousands of years. The moon was likely formed after a Mars-sized body collided with Earth. Earth's moon is the fifth largest of the 190 plus moons orbiting planets in our solar system. Earth's only natural satellite is simply called the moon because people didn't know other moons existed until Galileo Galilei discovered four moons orbiting Jupiter in 1610.
Man on the Moon. Astronauts landed on Moon 6 times during NASA's Apollo program. They found a world of grey dusty plains and rolling hills under an inky black sky. Below, an astronaut heads back to his rover vehicle parked near Camelot crater left, where he had been collecting samples. The large boundary boulders were flung out of the crater when it formed. How Moon was formed. Scientists think the Moon was formed as a result of a collision between Earth and a planet 4.5 billion years ago. The debris was pulled together by gravity and became the Moon. The dwarf planets. Dwarf planets are round in shape but smaller than true planets, and their gravity is not strong enough to sweep their region of space clear of smaller debris.
The most famous dwarf planet Pluto, which was classed as a true planet until 2006. Now it is known as a dwarf planet.
The Pluto, Eris 2007 OR10, Haumea, and Make Me Make are the largest dwarf planets.
This is the solar system's missions. So the missions to the moon, the most, then comes Mars, if it is less, and then comes Venus, then little less, because the asteroid more less, then Jupiter and Sun. Then there's Saturn, Mercury, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto.
Hope you liked today's video.
Yeah.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.